All right, everybody. Good morning and welcome to all our esteemed university leaders and guests. I'm Sarah Hubbard, a member of the Board of Regents, and I'm honored to join you here today for the State of the University Address. It's been a year of significant change for the university and higher education at large, and my colleagues and I are deeply grateful to President Grasso for his leadership and unifying influence over the past 6 months. He is skillfully guiding the university through a transition, quickly earning the confidence of our students, faculty, and staff, and bringing stability and calm to our university community. President Grasso's enthusiasm, commitment, and profound love for this university shine through every action he takes. Although President Grasso has shared he is not interested in the permanent presidency, he's made it very clear to us he has a place in Vermont he's ready to go to. His leadership has been anything but temporary, demonstrating vision and resolve that will leave the university stronger and more united than when he assumed the presidency. And so for that, we really appreciate him. Thank you. Again. You can never hear it too much. We look forward to hearing about the innovative initiatives and transformative work happening across our 3 campuses. These accomplishments inspire the nation and our fellow universities to look to Michigan as a leader in higher education. And now it is my pleasure to welcome President Grasso to share his vision and reflections on the state of the university. Come on down.
Thank you, Regent Hubbard, and thank you all for joining us, whether here in the room or online, especially the watch party at U of M Dearborn. Shout out to them. I almost channeled Stephen Jobs this morning and wore a black turtleneck to unveil a revolutionary innovation. But higher education is already our country's crown jewel of forward thinking, and I'm excited about the stories we'll be sharing today. I'd first like to acknowledge a special guest in the room, State Representative Jason Morgan. Is Jason here? Oh, there he is. I have the unique privilege of welcoming you to my first and my last State of the University address. My time as president is finite, but the University of Michigan endures. Our legacy of impact and service is not defined by individuals, but by the long and devoted line of staff, students, and faculty who advance humanity through their intellect, passion, and skills. I'm grateful to the Board of Regents for entrusting me with leading our great university. It has caused me to reflect on a Michigan president I've long admired, James Angel. Angel and I both came to this university from the University of Vermont. Susan and I now live in the same home he once occupied. His residency there was the longest of any U of M president, almost 40 years. Ours will be among the shortest. Yet we love living at the heart of campus. When Angel accepted the presidency, he privately worried that the job would be too overwhelming. I understand that apprehension, especially given the magnitude of the position today. But Angel relied on advice of a friend who offered him some sound engineering, and I see the Dean of Engineering sitting there, sound engineering advice. If you have a long lever, it is easy to raise a large load, as to lift a small weight with a shorter lever. For me, that long lever is the exceptional community of one of unparalleled breadth and excellence that inspires me every day. I have committed to rebuilding trust and pride, and you exemplify both through your strength and leadership. Our university's progress is impressive, and our ambitions bold. More students than ever want to attend Michigan. This year, we had 116,000 applications from students eager to join the best university in the world. They want to engage with internationally renowned faculty who will enlighten them. They're prepared to explore remarkable libraries and museums. They're ready to experience moments that unite us, like cultural performances and football Saturdays. And they'll soon enjoy our newest exceptional facilities, from our central campus residential development and College of Pharmacy to the Hadley Family Recreation and Wellbeing Center, opening this winter. Our vast research enterprise has surpassed $2 billion in expenditures, spanning laboratories, clinics, and fieldwork across Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint. Our healthcare professionals are expanding their expertise through the state-of-the-art D. Dan and Betty Kahn Healthcare Pavilion, opening this month, and through new clinics and statewide partnerships. This progress and promise are why we are asking society to look to Michigan, to see a university that serves as a beacon of hope. Through a $1 billion investment over the next decade, we will take calculated risks, deliver revolutionary solutions, and enhance lives worldwide. We are sharing our stories through a nationwide media campaign reaching hundreds of millions of people. In a moment, you'll see how our impact, from the arts to technology to medicine, is transforming society for the better. Two new initiatives particularly capture our momentum. The first is a $50 million commitment for a center devoted to civil discourse and dialogue, aimed at bridging today's divisions and strengthening our social fabric. Some may find it ironic that a university, already the marketplace of ideas, would establish such a center. But at this moment in history, when division too often drowns out discourse, Michigan must lead. This center will reach out to the broader society and model how to listen deeply, communicate effectively, and connect with empathy across our differences. We will solicit many voices to find common ground to improve the common good. We may not always succeed, but we will always strive for mutual respect, humility, and a commitment to consequential outcomes. We'll begin with campus town halls in January and February, leading to an April preview event that will showcase what dialogue can achieve. Bridging societal chasms today is essential to democracy tomorrow. Look to Michigan to lead in this vital effort. Our second bold initiative will advance the frontiers of science and healthcare. We are establishing a biomedical innovation institute that will be one of the most ambitious investments in years. We will merge our research strengths with entrepreneurial speed to bring discoveries from the laboratory to patients faster than ever before. It will be high-risk, high-reward work that will be grounded in bio-AI, clinical trials, and commercialization. The result will be serving humanity more effectively with faster and more advanced healthcare. We know how to do this. Years ago, U of M researchers pioneered a non-invasive method to destroy cancer tumors using ultrasound pulses. Their technology, histotripsy, grew into the company Histosonics 2 years ago, it received FDA approval to treat liver tumors. This summer, it sold for $2.25 billion. Histosonics now plans to apply its technologies to other cancers. This is a powerful example of how Michigan is saving lives. We aim to replicate this success, but at a significantly faster pace. The promise is immense. We will invest $250 million over 5 years to launch this institute and recruit top scientists and entrepreneurial talent from around different disciplines, different campuses, and throughout the world. Some 80 years ago, Michigan graduate Kelly Johnson established Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works. This was a freestanding enterprise that worked swiftly to develop innovative aircraft at the end of World War II, and it redefined rapid innovation. Our institute will carry that same revolutionary spirit, advancing health sciences, supercomputing, and innovation for the public good. Progress demands investment, both human and physical capital. Our $1 billion Look to Michigan commitment is unprecedented. I have been a department chair, a dean, and a provost, and some may wonder how we can make this vast investment while also addressing budget challenges. The answer is that we must think differently. We must not compromise the potential of the future for the exigency of the present. We will call for proposals from you, our community, for your best ideas. The world's brightest minds surround us on all three campuses, and together we can be more strategic and disciplined than ever before. My goal over this year of service is to position the university for lasting impact. This is Michigan's moment to invest in our future and move into the passing lane while others idle. Our donors share our enthusiasm and set us apart from other universities. We just closed our second highest fundraising year ever, which helped us surpass $4.2 billion towards our $7 billion campaign goal. Our generous and visionary supporters leverage our collective power to make a difference in the world. Our expertly curated endowment provides additional strength, funding student ambition, faculty excellence, and cutting-edge facilities. And Moody's recent AAA stable rating confirms what we already know. Michigan stands on solid ground. It is a powerful endorsement of our commitment to the common good. When I earned my doctorate here in 1987, and I hesitated putting the actual year in there, I have to tell you that, I was beyond proud to call myself a Michigan graduate. When I returned in 2018 to lead the University of Michigan Dearborn, that pride only deepened. But nothing compares to these past 6 months leading the world's greatest university. Every day on all our campuses, I see brilliance, compassion, and drive that define Michigan. Our people embody the ideal of public service and remind me of why the University of Michigan matters and why it will continue to matter for centuries to come. This is who we are, this is what we do, and this is why we say, look to Michigan. Thank you all for what you do every day for our university and for the world. And forever, go blue. Thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to segue from president to MC and tell you about a series of presentations that illuminate the impact areas of our Look to Michigan vision. The University of Michigan changes students' lives. I know because it changed mine. And the students with us this morning realize it too. That transformation includes the many ways that the arts reveal not only what it means to be human and how we interpret the world, but also what we can aspire to become. Professor Jason Fedek, Director of University Bands, will share an experience that changed the lives of our gifted musicians as well as high school students around our state. I should note that Jason joined U of M after serving as a director of the president's own, not my president, the president in Washington, the president's own United States Marine Band. We observed Veterans Day early this week, and I'd like to thank Jason for his service. Please welcome Jason Fedek.
Thank you, everybody. Good morning, and thanks so much, President Grasso, for that wonderful introduction and for your deliberate recognition of the School of Music, Theater, and Dance and how the arts play into the priorities that we have as a university. The Look to Michigan tenets, as we all know, include life-changing education, bold civic and global engagement, and an emphasis on illuminating our humanity and community, as the president just said. Music is an incredibly powerful tool for these goals. My background as the former director of the Marine Band, which is the oldest and arguably most visible service-minded arts organization in the country, gave me a chance to witness this power firsthand. We took the band out of Washington, D.C. and into communities across the nation every year since the great John Philip Sousa was the director in 1891. I had the privilege of performing in 49 of our states and in 5 countries during my service. So when I came to the University of Michigan a few years ago, I wondered if we could follow a similar model, but focused on our own state first. In May, the historic University of Michigan Symphony Band went out on the road for the first time in over 30 years. And we have a little video to show. There is no substitute for live music, and what we want more than anything for our students here at the University of Michigan is to feel the power of that kind of performance, and a tour seemed to be the perfect vehicle for that.
We really wanted to share that joy, share the wonder of the arts with all of the people of Michigan, sort of in gratitude and in service.
I did this when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Michigan in 1990. This time around, it was great to observe how well they were bonding, because they have to learn how to perform consistently day after day after day, and sometimes multiple times per day.
To have the symphony band and the level of excellence it brings also be a vehicle for that message about service and community seems to me like an amazing opportunity. People can start to see the University of Michigan as a place really for the people of Michigan, as well as for the people of the world.
Music is about community. It's about having fun. It's about sharing emotion and sharing a moment with each other. I am very hopeful that this can become a regular tradition to get out to different parts of our state, continue to keep the university and the School of Music connected, and continue to share music in service of community for years to come. So why tour? What do we get out of touring and bringing our students out into our community? As we said in the video and as the president's talked about, it really is about service. It's about finding a way to represent our university and how it serves our communities here around Ann Arbor, in the entire state of Michigan, and indeed nationally. And this tour was wonderful because it not only reached out to give a gift to our communities, but it was a gift to our students as well, to get out into these communities and have a chance to engage and understand the role that they play in carrying forward the work that we do here. There was also an element of letting students know prospectively what their experiences could be here, recruiting and making sure that students from our state look to the University of Michigan as a wonderful resource with such a national reputation. We shared the Go Blue guarantee everywhere we went to ensure that students who could use that resource knew that that was accessible to them. We also wanted to make sure we engaged with local government officials. So we worked with our government relations office here at the university. We had 3 mayors of different communities at our concerts, as well as other state representatives and other education institutions as well, being a part of our collaborations. One of the main goals was to connect with the Flint, and we had a collaboration with them the first time in many years, as well as Grand Valley State University and many, many high schools and middle schools. So this was a week-long initiative. 1 week, 9 communities from Metro Detroit up the east side of our state, as north as Traverse City, down the west side through Grand Rapids, and then back home. The model of this was to give free concerts, entertaining and engaging concerts that spoke to our values here at the university, would be immediately connective, which is what I did in the Marine Corps as well. And we always knew that the teaching was going to be central to this. So the concerts were one aspect of our work, and the other aspect was getting into the schools. We gave 11 clinics in middle schools and high schools within a week's time. And these were side-by-side clinics. So I led initiatives with our students, and our students taught from within the band as well, making personal connections with the students that we had. I want to say also that this was 100% student volunteers. This happened in May after classes ended. So I could not compel the students to do it as part of their class. But I had a huge number of our symphony band students volunteer to stay, give up other summer plans, and be a part of this unique tour, which I was very proud of. And I was also proud to partner with the wonderful arts initiative here at the University of Michigan, whose goal is to use the arts as a connective vehicle for citizens all across our state. They provided the seed money for this, and Dr. Mark Clegg, who's a colleague of mine and the director of the State of the Arts Initiative that the Arts Initiative runs every year. So some of the highlights of this tour, we, in Fenton, right down the road here, we ended up with a joint clinic with high school and middle school students from 3 different schools in Fenton. The mayor of Fenton attended that event, and she was going to stay for about 20 minutes and talk to the students and just be there for some support. She ended up staying for the entire hour-and-a-half clinic because she was so compelled with what was happening with our students and the students of the schools in her jurisdiction. We also had a joint concert, as I mentioned, with the University of Michigan Flint, which is the first time we've done that in many, many years. And that was a wonderful symbolic representation of the partnership that we have with our sister campuses in Flint and in Dearborn. We made a visit to the Interlochen Arts Academy. Of course, in the School of Music, Theater, and Dance, we draw a lot of our students from Interlochen, being one of the premier high school arts academies in the country. And it was a special event because we not only gave a clinic for the students at Interlochen, but then we got a clinic ourselves. We happened to have the maestro Christian Machalaro, who is the music director of the Cincinnati Orchestra, visiting Interlochen at the time. So we spent an hour with their students, and he spent an hour with ours, making a wonderful opportunity for our students. And we also visited the Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, where 6 different high schools visited to participate in a joint concert and clinic with us to wrap up our tour. By the numbers, we presented 8 public concerts and 11 middle school and high school clinics in just 7 days. It was a little bit of a taste of the busy, relentless professional life that our students are about to experience. We achieved tremendous traction online for the Arts Initiative, played with nearly 4,000 citizens, and most importantly, personally engaged with about 2,000 secondary school students. And that was in many ways one of the most fulfilling parts of this tour for our students. We had many partnerships that were key. They ran the gamut of our constituents and university leaders, starting with the support of the Arts Initiative here on our campus and also our own admissions, development, and government relations offices. And one of the goals was to try to expand the influence and reach of our tour beyond just the music students and make it more globally accessible and representative for the entire university. We also had wonderful exposure in both print and radio media, including Michigan News, Michigan Public Radio, Tri-County Times, and the University of Michigan Flint paper. And the follow-up video, which you just saw, has been shared quite widely, and there's a longer version of that. We were elated to find that there was tremendous enthusiasm for what this tour represented to the state of Michigan and to the university's broad commitment to its citizens and its students. Music is a powerful conduit. Band has historically always been the music of the people, and it saturates our culture here at U of M for all of our students. You see it in the marching band and the pep bands, to the campus bands that so many students participate in, to this tour by the historic symphony band with some of our finest future professional performers. Music provides that visceral, emotional connection that can highlight the initiatives and messaging of the university, and it perfectly aligns with the Look to Michigan campaign. Everything we did on this tour was designed to find the intersection between community service and engagement and education, creating potentially life-changing moments and experiences for everyone we encountered in their towns and in their schools. I felt the same way in the Marines as I feel here. The Marine Band's music represented the unparalleled excellence of the Marine Corps through the arts. The University of Michigan Symphony Band represents the very best of this institution in a way that is recognizable to everyone. With the success of this first tour, I hope we have a chance to repeat this project many times in the years to come, giving each class of students opportunities to make a real-world impact as part of their education and reaching people in every part of our great state on behalf of our university. And now I am proud to turn over this segment to some of the students who performed on that tour in May with the very same piece of music that they played in classrooms all over Michigan on our trip. Thank you very much, and will you please welcome students from the School of Music, Theater, and Dance.
I want to thank Jason and the students. They did a terrific job, and it's just so inspirational to see that and see that travel around the state and bringing Michigan to the other citizens of the state as well as the students. Thank you so much, Jason. We are also encouraging people to look to Michigan for cures and treatments that improve health and well-being. This stretches from research at the most fundamental levels of biology to clinical trials and patient care. Professor Ariella Shikanoff and scientists in her lab are committed to improving health of young women touched by cancer. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Shikanoff.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell you today about the research I've been doing for the past 13 years at the Biomedical Engineering at the University of Michigan. So my research is focused on ovaries. And most people who hear ovary think about fertility. But ovaries are not only for fertility. They're super important for women's health. They're important for endocrine function. And my lab is doing a lot to really try to restore both fertility and endocrine function. So my passion for ovaries started when I was reading the journal Nature, and I saw the picture of these two women. So if you look at the photo, maybe they're related. They are identical twins. And if you see, they don't really look identical. And the reason is that the woman on the left was diagnosed with leukemia when she was 3. And she underwent anti-cancer treatment, and of course she survived. But because of the toxicity of those treatments, she became without ovaries. So she lost her ovarian function and she experienced premature ovarian insufficiency. And because of that, anti-cancer treatments, they cause more than 2/3 of the girls to lose their ovarian function. So as a result, these girls are shorter, the bones are not as strong, and they're predisposed to a lot of cardiovascular and bone health problems. So as you understand, it's critical to try and solve this problem. The currently available treatment is called hormonal replacement therapy. It was not designed to restore puberty. It's focused on postmenopausal women. And if you can see, it kind of provides steady levels of hormones. It doesn't really match the normal hormonal cycle that we see in women. So we were awarded a small NSF grant to go around the country and ask physicians and clinicians and cancer patients whether this treatment is good. good. And we were reassured that there is no good treatment. So as engineers, we decided to build an artificial ovary. So this artificial ovary is built on donor ovarian tissue that can be implanted subcutaneously in the patient, and we can surround it by immunoisolating hydrogel, eliminating the need for immunosuppressive therapy. So we can create these gels, and you can see those circles at the bottom. These are the artificial ovaries that we can implant in these girls. So in 2013, when I just joined the University of Michigan, 1 year passed, I was awarded a grant from the Hartwell Foundation, and they believed in this therapy, and they gave me initial money. And since then, we've published a lot of papers on this topic, and we were awarded more than $11 million federal funds to pursue this goal. So we've tested it in a lot of different models. We also were able to apply and receive a patent that covers this technology and would allow us to go pretty smooth into clinical trials. So to be able to go into clinical trials, I also with help with the Innovation Partnership Office here at the amazing University of Michigan, we incorporated and created a startup company that then would be able to apply to the FDA approval and take this to the clinic. However, just making an artificial ovary doesn't mean treatment and restoration of endocrine function. We can focus on other patients who cannot store their eggs before exposure to cancer treatments. And these technologies involve either growing ovarian follicles or eggs in the culture in the lab or grafting this tissue back to the patient. So we partnered with organ procurement organization that allows us to obtain ovaries from young women who tragically die in car accident. And then we take this tissue to the lab, we process it, we analyze it, and then we can create a bank of processed of human ovarian tissue that can be tested as close as you can imagine to the patient. We also analyze the revascularization and vasculature present in these ovarian tissues so we can graft it seamlessly into the patients. So what we noticed that when we graft or implant this ovarian tissue, the vasculature between the donor tissue and the recipient doesn't really reconnect. And this is what you can see here. So the red stain is the vasculature of the donor tissue, and the green is the vasculature of the recipient. So you can see after 3 days and 1 week, there is some remaining red in those blue ovarian tissue. But as time goes by, there is no real functional revascularization. So again, being engineers, my PhD student Despina, came up with this idea. What if we take the ovarian graft and we cut it in smaller pieces, enhancing the surface area, and then encapsulate it in a hydrogel or carrying scaffold. But then this hydrogel we can build with large open pore structure to allow vasculature to go in and really make this tissue survive. So she created these gels using microfluidic devices and hydrogels, and then created those grafts. And what we saw, amazingly, that when you graft this tissue after 3 days, 1 week, and 3 weeks, you see beautiful incorporation of red and green. And then this tissue survives, and you can see, so all the green is basically the vasculature from the host infiltrating and restoring the ovarian function in these tissues. We also, because we have access to human tissue, we wanted to go and publish human ovarian cell atlas. So probably 10 years ago, Chen Zuckerberg Foundation came up with this idea to create a atlas of human cells. And of course, they focused on important organs such as brain and lungs and heart. And then when they came with the second wave, they invited us to create atlas of human ovarian tissue. So we published it last year in Science Advances, and we learned so much. So my very talented graduate students created beautiful gradients to understand the signaling in the ovaries, to better understand which eggs are destined to survive and which eggs are not. We identified novel markers for eggs that are better than the other eggs, and also took every individual egg sequence and identified different population of ovarian oocytes. And then, since we have access to these beautiful ovarian follicles, we also, as bioengineers, want to create three-dimensional support system to culture these follicles to get to the fertilizable egg to allow these women to get pregnant. So we design hydrogels, and then we take inspiration from nature. So if you look at the nature, you see that each ovarian follicle, these are the circles, kind of darker circles, they're surrounded by a lot of green, red, and yellow, and these are extracellular matrix. So we are built of cells and extracellular matrix proteins. So when we take the follicles out and we want to culture them, we really want to recreate the environment. So my students create these biomaterials that can sequester and take away the proteins that follicles make, and then basically recreate the follicular environment. Because if we just put follicles in blank hydrogels, really nothing happens. So when we encapsulate follicles, so what you see here, day 0, it's a very small circle. It has one oocyte, the egg surrounded by supportive cells. As we grow them up to day 10, you can appreciate how large these structures get, and then we can get to meiotically competent oocytes, so something that we can fertilize and can eventually develop into an embryo. And then we stain these follicles to understand if they deposit extracellular matrix. And what you can see here, so the yellow is just the base material, the yellow fibers, but then right around the follicle, which is here in blue, you can see the pink. And pink is basically newly made proteins secreted by the follicles. Follicles are trying to recreate their environment, and if we stain, we can identify all the natural proteins present in these follicles in nature. So we're making a lot of strides towards getting into clinical trials in terms of developing these immuno-isolating capsules that would allow us to implant it in young girls who fail to undergo physiological puberty, restore their physiological puberty, and then take them all the way until they're ready to get into menopause. We're also looking into facilitating revascularization of the ovarian tissue that we can implant in these women so they can get their function for longer. And then we're also looking into understanding the ovarian aging, right? So what we can delay ovarian aging. Ovaries start, it's basically the first organ that starts aging. And if we can delay this aging, we can improve the health of postmenopausal women and kind of eliminate all the problems. So I do want to thank my lab. Well, first of all, I want to thank the amazing University of Michigan. I wouldn't be able to do anything without all the help and my beautiful collaborators and outstanding graduate students, and of course, the funding sources. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ariella. And another example of why Michigan not only stands out and why everyone is looking to Michigan. Thank you. Promoting democratic ideals is a long-held tenet of our university. Look to Michigan focuses on fostering civic and global engagement, including promoting truth and trust in democratic systems. The growing use of misinformation, deep fakes, and AI-generated content poses a threat to elections, the justice system, and other critical institutions. We will now hear from 3 experts in the field of cybersecurity about our approaches to protecting the cornerstones of democracy. Please welcome Professor Javed Ali from U of M Ann Arbor, Professor Hafiz Malik from U of M Dearborn, and Professor Khalid Malik, unrelated, from U of M Flint. Please welcome them.
So, President Grasso, thank you for that introduction. Tough act to follow with the last 2 panels. We will not have another 5-person quartet here. So, Jason, you knocked it out of the park. But so honored to be here. I know other people have shared their connections to U of M, even outside of teaching. I myself am a former graduate from 1990. Trust me, the 1990 version of Javed Ali could never have imagined to be here on this stage, and I would have been voted least likely to ever be a college professor. So the fact I'm here is quite remarkable. But again, an honor to be here, and my job is to introduce the great research and insights from Khalid and Hafiz, because I don't bring that to the table from my position here at the Ford School. My job at the Ford School is to teach public policy classes, and one of the classes I've developed over the years is a class on cyber security, which ironically is not the mission area I focused on in my government career. Before I started teaching, I was in the world of counterterrorism. But in the cybersecurity class, it looks at the threats to the US or the threats to the nation from all these different adversaries and the tools and tactics they have used, and then different policy approaches to those threats to the United States. And one of the issues that has emerged over these past several years are things that President Grasso mentioned, threats to our elections, both on the physical side, which is more the world I was in my government career in counterterrorism, but now even more so on the digital side. And how do we keep elections safe when it comes to misinformation, disinformation? And that in and of itself is a really difficult challenge. But now you add in the advanced tools that are out there to drive those threat-related projects and activities, and artificial intelligence is really one of the game changers on that. And so for my colleagues back in Washington, D.C., who are still in those 3 and 4 letter agencies where I used to work, this is one of the challenges they're facing right now. So the research from Khalid and Hafiz really sort of shines a spotlight into this really narrow aspect, or one particular aspect of this threat to elections and democracy. So I'm going to turn the floor over to both of them. And I think you're going to, again, we don't have a 5-person quartet, but you're going to like the videos that you see just as a demonstration of what this threat could look like.
Thank you, Javed. Thank you, President Grasso, for having us here and for such a great support, and more importantly, for allowing me to use your image, just a single image, to create the deepfake. So I would like to start with the video first.
Hello, this is President Grasso, and I am not here of my own free will. I am a deepfake, constructed in just a few minutes using freely available tools with less material than your teenager has on TikTok. But I could be anyone. I can be made to say anything.
I can be made to do
anything.
The Smiles Lab at the University of Michigan Flint Center for Cybersecurity has spent the last 10 years developing tools to combat deepfakes like the one you just saw. Their newest application, DeepTect, can identify both AI-generated and manually edited deepfakes, including ones that AI has never seen before. If you think you can spot deepfakes with the naked eye, you are simply fooling yourself. It's a brave new world of deception out there, and deepfake technology has advanced too far too fast for most of us to keep up. This poses an imminent threat to our democracy. But thanks to the researchers behind the Smiles Lab, we now have a viable Flint-born solution to this national crisis.
To tell a little bit about what we are doing, how we are addressing this challenge, I would like to share that in September 2025, only 2 months ago, a deepfake was entered in the court in California, and it was 3 out luckily, but it ended up going to the judges, and later on they came to know that it was a deepfake. We are trying our best to stop these kind of the deepfake entering into the code. Basically, deepfakes are bringing 4 different challenges to us. Number 1 is a deepfake can be used as evidence in the court. A real sample can also be subjected to called as a deepfake. And those who are having a lot of resources, definitely they are at advantage compared to those people who cannot afford the experts. And lastly, this is going to erode trust in our democratic society. We are living in an interesting time because right now, some people believe more in AI than in democratic institutes. As a researcher, our challenge is how to bring the trust both in AI, but at the same time restore the trust in our democratic institutes as well. So coming up about how we are tackling this situation, we are using neurosymbolic and multimodal AI. We look at the images, audios, and videos from different angles. And the models that we are bringing together, they coordinate with one another, they reason, and then they come up with determination that is highly explainable in nature. We are also very well aware that if such tools are deployed online, these could be attacked as well. In order to tackle this one, we are trying to bring robustness by bringing various different anti-forensics techniques. In court space, another aspect of the trustworthiness is fairness. We are training the machine learning model in a way that we ensure that trust exists in these solutions. Deepfakes are, new reality, but as a researcher, we feel that it's very important that we should keep on striving to bring trust for these solutions to protect our democratic institutes.
Colin, thank you for that. So Hafiz, please.
First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity and sharing what we do and how it aligns with the Look to Michigan campaign and how it aligns with the University of Michigan mission in general, especially if we're looking at the democratic institutions, civil engagement, and global reach. So I'll be just sharing some of the work that we've been doing, especially a real world scenario that hit my desk roughly maybe 3 weeks ago. And this is an example. Could you please play this video?
Hello, my name's Aaron. I'm emergency medical advisor on one of the 999 control rooms for the ambulance service. I have many friends who are paramedics in Poland, and all these specialists say one thing: they are terrified of the upcoming election because of the terrorist threat. Poland doesn't have enough doctors and ambulances to handle the scale and number of terrorist attacks that are coming with the presidential election. Polish paramedics tell me bluntly that they are afraid of facing a situation where they have to choose which of 20 to 30 people to save right now. Share this video with your family and friends via messengers.
So this is an example that was shared to us, and you have heard it. The question is it real or is it fake? And that is actually in UK, he is the National Health Services service provider and doctor and also influencer, and people follow him. And Russian agents, they use his voice, cloned it, and if you look at the video don't have any trace in it. Only the audio channel is the one that has the trace of the deepfakes. And that is what the bad actors are taking advantage of. They use a load of human perceptual system, because as we watch, we don't pay deep attention to the audio track that is just entering to the our perceptual system. So this video came to me, and we analyzed it. We provided the detailed analysis, and that's the work that we do. These kind of audios, videos hit our desk almost if not every day, every other day. Even last Saturday, we received a request from YouTube, and YouTube is like Google. And if Google is reaching out to you for asking to analyze it, that tells you what challenges we are facing today and where we stand. Okay, so challenges are real. Generative AI is posing serious challenges to our democratic institutions, our democratic processes, as Dr. Malik just mentioned, that our court system, judicial system, they are relying on the evidence. Evidence is admissible. Admissibility of that evidence also require its analysis, and public, especially judges, lawyers, prosecutors, they're not trained for that kind of technology. So therefore, there's a need to develop such technologies. Likewise, developing technologies to social media platforms, developing technologies that can weed out these fake and manipulated content, reaching out to the broader audience. As this example, I just shared it with you. They just took his audio. Any famous person, President Grasso or any other person, you can take their content from the web, and it's just a very small amount of time that it takes you to create the fake content of it. And then you can upload it. And there are then techniques out there that can bypass existing countermeasures. So what we are doing, we are developing technologies that are robust, that are agnostic to attacks, so that we can tell the truth. We can tell the difference between fake and real. Most of the cases that come to my lab, we are go-to lab for outlets such as NPR or CNN, BBC, YouTube, etc. And most of the cases that come to us are coming for politicians, coming for people in power, influential people, and turnaround time is very quick. And we have developed our framework that can serve this broader audience of global reach. So we are not like basically accessed by only the outlets in US, but around the world. And that is basically taking the mission to allowing people to see the truth. What we do, we don't like take one side, political side or the other. Our goal, our lab goal is to tell the truth based on science, based on real facts. That's what we do.
All right, so I'm looking at the clock, and the clock is officially run out on the panel. Do we have time for a question? Or if we have time for a question, then maybe very quickly before we get off stage, how would you describe the level of collaboration across all three campuses with respect to even the work that you're doing on artificial intelligence and deepfake technology? Do you think it's good? Where does it need to go in the future? Even though President Grasso, it sounds like you won't be with us after this year, but what's the future of this issue look like for the university?
To me, I mean, the collaboration that we have among three campuses is very unique. Actually, I started working with the Hafiz back in 2017. Our first award was together from NSF. And then I started focusing more toward the code space, and Hafiz focused more on the social media side. On the other hand, I got a collaboration from Japan, from my previous employer, that how we can assist the Japanese government there. I contacted the Ann Arbor campus, and they helped me out. And we are very proud to say that right now, officially, we are assisting government of Japan to differentiate real from fake across all three medias. And it is only possible because of the help that I got from Innovation Partnership, which is in the Ann Arbor campus. So I'm very pleased with the collaboration that we got both from the Dearborn campus as well as from the Ann Arbor.
And same here, we developed the technology in Dearborn. We collaborate extensively with all three campuses, as Dr. Malik mentioned, with Flint as well as Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor provide us support in all respects, like commercializing the technology. We are a recipient of the Blue Foundry first inaugural program. And we started our startup company based on this technology, all thanks to Tech Transfer Office or the Technology Innovation Office. And also using computing resources, also using in the data science center as well. So I think collaboration is there, and if it continues, and it will continue, I'm strongly believing in that one. And more is better. If we collaborate more actively, that is going to be even more helpful. The challenge is too big. I mean, single lab, single person cannot solve it. It has to be collaborative effort, not only within the campuses, but even across other campuses as well.
And I'll just foot stomp the whole issue of collaboration, integration, and information sharing, although that may not be as acute here, but this is one of the reasons which allowed 9/11 to happen. And my career in government started almost immediately after 9/11, from 2002 to 2018. And I can tell you firsthand, that's when my hair went white pretty quickly. And I'm not kidding about that, but had the government not made this sea change transformation to facilitate all those action verbs that I just talked about, or adjectives, there would have been more attacks. And that's the reality of what that threat landscape looked like after 9/11. So I guess it's just more of a plea that hopefully, as the years go by, we continue to come together on this issue here at the university.
Yeah. That's right.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Javed, Hafiz, and Khalid, for your insights. And although the threats are incredibly alarming, I'm sanguine about the future, knowing that we have people like you working on this. And now that I know that you can do this, maybe you could do some virtual images of me after I leave, and I can answer anybody's question in the way you want it, and everybody will be happy. Our university is a powerhouse of ideas, and you've seen this up up till now, and we're going to continue. And we improve communities in countless ways. But it is all for naught if we, as a society, do not commit to a more sustainable world. The Detroit Sustainability Clinic works with community partners to identify and achieve social, economic, and environmental sustainability goals. Professor Lisa DeRussell will tell us about just one of the many student projects taking place in our state's most important city. Lisa.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, President Grasso, for inviting me here today. I'm Lisa DeRussell, and I am a practicing landscape architect and an associate professor of practice and engagement here in Ann Arbor at the University of Michigan's School for Environment and Sustainability, or SEAS. My work centers on what I call translational practice, connecting ecological research with on-the-ground design and community engagement. For decades, SEAS students and faculty have been learning with Detroit, collaborating with community partners and city agencies to advance environmental, climate, and energy justice across the city's neighborhoods, parks, vacant land, and waterways. The Detroit Sustainability Clinic was established in 2021 to bring structure and continuity to that legacy. In just 4 years, we've partnered on 12 community-based projects, 8 with government agencies, and connected 13 faculty and more than 85 students across disciplines. The clinic is cross-cutting. It embodies the university's 4 pillars, but especially energy, climate action, sustainability, and environmental equity. We pair rigorous research like flood modeling, drone mapping, soils assessment, and more with the lived experience of Detroiters who know their land best. It's a bridge between academic insight and community-led change. The motto is simple: public partnerships for the public good. This means sustained relationships, not one-semester projects. A great example is Eliza Howell Park, one of Detroit's largest and most beloved parks. Each year, new teams build on the work of the last so that data, design, and trust all accumulate over time. These partnerships tackle urgent challenges, stormwater, heat, habitat loss, but they also nurture civic capacity. Students learn that sustainability is relational. It's about how we care for places and people. Our SEAS students, Emily Brent over there in the back, Grace Carbeck, Miles Markey, and Cameron Offenhauser worked under my guidance as their faculty advisor alongside the City of Detroit, local nonprofit Sidewalk Detroit, and Eliza Howell Park stewards to develop adaptive maintenance and honor planting strategies that look at both ecology and community use. This project shows how data and design translate into stewardship. It's the kind of life-changing, experiential learning that defines SEAS and the kind of partnership that makes real impact possible. I'm pleased to share with you a short film that demonstrates this impact. When people ask where to look for models of sustainability that are equitable, collaborative, and lasting, look to Michigan. Because here, we don't just study environmental change, we help communities shape it.
If people are looking for an example of energy, sustainability, climate action, and environmental equity, there's no better place to look than Michigan. The Sustainability Clinic was a recognition that we were doing projects in Detroit over the last 40 years, but we didn't have a hub to concentrate those projects, to really think about the products that were developed from those projects and how they could continue to advance sustainability. So one great example is the Eliza Howell project that the clinic supported. The students were able to create a tool that the park could use to understand the type of vegetation that exists in the park and create a plan for plantings. The city is now thinking about how we could use that for other parks. And so the tools and the skills and the resources that that team created can now be passed on to another team to do this at multiple parks across the city of Detroit.
For many years, the park, due to lack of resources, was not very well cared for. And so it has been a space that community members have needed to really put extra energy and time into, and have done so. Sidewalk Detroit has been stewarding this park for years, but we haven't had folks on staff who are experts in natural areas management. And so what these students created for us is really a framework for ongoing restoration and management of the natural areas, which is essential. It's something that we really needed, and we did not have the capacity within our organization to produce.
The partners that we bring in, the partners that we collaborate with, are oftentimes nonprofits, they're community groups, they're block clubs. And so I like to think that myself and my students can help support building that capacity for organizations who have a lot of drive, who have a lot of energy, but just don't have the capacity to really execute their vision.
It was especially meaningful for me because I live in Detroit. And so I was really happy to be able to apply directly what I was learning in school to my own community.
There's just a really great opportunity to sort of work on not only how this connects and affects people, but also wildlife. And there's lots of different ecosystems kind of touching and connecting, and the restoration work and the need for some of the information and services that we were able to work on over a year and a half was amazing.
I want it to continue to grow as a nature park. I want there to be more natural spaces in the park. I mean, there's an entire area that's completely turf grass, and that could be wildflowers and oak trees and more birds.
I think it's pretty special that a regal fritillary butterfly was spotted here, and there hadn't been one spotted in Wayne County in almost 100 years.
I just really hope that what we've started here is replicable for other city parks, and then other cities to build in their cities.
I think all cities need this type of work, and there are limited resources within this city and all cities for natural areas management. And so I think having university partners is such an important link to have for us to be able to get this work done.
To be able to interact with students like we were able to in the SEAS program is such an amazing opportunity. The idea that they will be the leaders of the future, it's great to be able to connect with them, share our experiences, and be inspired by what they're seeking.
When I think about the clinic and the bridge that we create, it's really, not one of, just us coming in here and kind of doing the work, but it's one of continued partnership. So I like to think that the projects that we're working on through the clinic address an immediate need, but they also create this amazing resource of knowledge and of processes that can then be used elsewhere. They are creating a repository of information, knowledge, processes, data, relationships, partnerships that we can continue to use and we can continue to expand upon.
I would love to see a Detroit that has these havens of nature, easily accessible to all of its residents. Projects like this are setting the framework for spaces like this throughout the city.
When people are looking for true university community partnerships that result in place-based, community-led solutions, they can look to Michigan.
We are a public university working for public impact with public partners. That's why we're here. On behalf of myself, Clinic Director Tony Reams, and everyone at the School for Environment and Sustainability, thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to shift now to from the natural world to advanced technologies, including the rapid development of artificial intelligence and data science. This includes our path-breaking partnership with Los Alamos National Laboratories that will put us at the forefront of research and discovery. We pledge to develop and harness these new technologies responsibly and in ways that improve the human condition and safeguard our collective future. Earlier this week marked the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. And I thought you'd all break out into Gordon Lightfoot, but that didn't happen. Our final presentation this morning will take us deep into the Great Lakes to show us how technology is opening new worlds to researchers. Please welcome Anya Shepard, a doctoral candidate in robotics.
I'm so sorry to disappoint this morning that I won't be singing the song about the Edmund Fitzgerald, but I'm really excited to talk about the work that my lab, the Field Robotics Group, in the robotics department here at the University of Michigan, has been doing to work on solving some key open research problems for marine robotics. The Earth's lakes and oceans contain critical resources, ranging from historical sites such as shipwrecks, which we're going to talk about today, to coral reefs, which contain incredible biodiversity and also can mark the effects of climate change, to undersea fiber optic cables that provide critical communications infrastructure across the world. In this video, we are using an underwater robot called an ROV, or a remotely operated vehicle, to survey a shipwreck in Lake Huron. In this talk, I'm going to discuss 3 core marine robotics challenges that my research lab, the Field Robotics Group, is working on solving. The first open challenge is underwater object detection. Camera imagery appears very different underwater due to visibility differences and light attenuation. This makes looking for objects underwater a lot different than looking for them in air. Additionally, we use unique sensors underwater, such as sonar, that have been less studied as compared to traditional camera imagery. Another big challenge is autonomous surveying. There's a lack of GPS data underwater, and there's also a challenge with noisier sensor data and poor visibility, which makes navigation to do surveying a lot more challenging. The third challenge I'm going to talk about today is 3D real-time mapping. Computation and communication bandwidth on underwater systems is strained, and fusing sensor data from multiple sources is an open challenge in making this possible. Let's talk about the first challenge, detection. Cameras underwater only allow us to see so far. In this video here, you're looking at an autonomous underwater vehicle called an AUV driving through Lake Huron, right? And you can't see very far at all because of turbidity and also light challenges. So we turn to a different sensor called a side-scan sonar, which lets us image the lake bed from many tens to hundreds of meters away. Side-scan sonar uses acoustics to capture a snapshot of the seafloor. These robots, these AUVs, can cover several hundred square kilometers in an hour, collecting large amounts of survey data that you can see here in the top right. These missions are executed autonomously with pre-planned trajectories. Once these side-scan sonar images are collected, it's a time-intensive manual process to review images for features of interest. We rely on experts to review and pick out shipwrecks, airplane wrecks, and artificial reefs within the side-scan sonar imagery. Sometimes these wrecks are very hard to pick out. For example, on the right side of the screen, there is a hidden shipwreck. This one's called the Heart Failure. Our lab is interested in training machine learning models to detect shipwrecks from the vast amount of data that is collected during these surveys to alleviate the manual labor required to find new shipwrecks. In order to train a shipwreck detection model, we first have to gather examples of shipwrecks in side-scan sonar images at known sites. Our lab at the University of Michigan is uniquely poised to collect this data, as the Great Lakes has an estimated 10,000 shipwrecks. We work with the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration at the Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary in Alpena, Michigan, just a few hours away from Ann Arbor. At this unique site, there are hundreds of wrecks within a few miles of the coast. Over the course of 2 years, our lab has visited 29 shipwreck sites and collected 286 unique high-resolution shipwreck images. which we have then used to train our own shipwreck detection models, which can determine if each pixel in a side scan sonar image is a shipwreck or background terrain. We experimented with several different types of machine learning architectures, ranging from transformers to UNets to salient object detection networks, in order to find the best performing architecture. This benchmarking report was released to the scientific community. So once we have the shipwreck detection model, what can we do with it? Here is a real-world example of the accelerated detection pipeline. We deploy our AUV robot, which goes and collects side scan sonar data. And then in just a few minutes, we can transfer that data back on the boat to run it through our machine learning model and see what might be a potential shipwreck in the area that we just surveyed. This can then be displayed in a mapping software to help determine if more surveying should be conducted. This is a huge efficiency improvement over conducting a survey, then taking the data back to land, and then needing to discuss with other people to determine if there are shipwrecks and look through that data manually. In order to contribute back to the marine robotics community, we've released this data set that we spent multiple years collecting to the community. It's called AI for Shipwrecks, and it's been available for the last year. And members of the marine vision community have already begun to use this data set to improve their underwater detection algorithms. Next, I'm going to discuss how the Field Robotics Group is addressing autonomous surveying, which is another open challenge in marine robotics. Sometimes surveying a shipwreck from far away is not enough. In order to capture structural degradation information or see unique historical features that may help identify a wreck, close-up inspection or autonomous surveying is desired. From the shipwreck detections that I just spoke about, we can automatically construct a survey path for a smaller, more agile robot to do close-up inspection. The smaller, more agile robot that we use, a remotely operated vehicle, is shown here. It's called a Blue ROV, and it contains specialized sensors that we use to do close-up inspection, including a stereo camera, a barometer, an inertial measurement unit, and a Doppler velocity log. Here's an example of what an autonomous survey might look like in real time. This is a video that a Blue ROV is collecting as it drives over the Monahanset wreck in Lake Huron. The video is from a downward-facing stereo camera, which allows us to inspect the wreck beneath the robot. From the video I just showed you, we can use 3D reconstruction and photogrammetry software to construct a map of the wreck that we have surveyed. This software is computationally intensive and cannot be run in real time on the robot, so it's typically a post-processing step that we do once the shipwreck imagery has been collected and we return to land. And while this model of the wreck looks really great, we want to achieve real-time mapping in order to give surveyors real-time information and feedback on what the robot is seeing while it's out in the field. This brings me to the third major challenge that my lab, the Field Robotics Group, is working on solving, which is real-time 3D dense underwater mapping. One of the main challenges for constructing real-time maps underwater is the lack of visual features from frame to frame. The robot may be driving and unable to see the ground, or the ground might be sandy and very featureless. In these cases, traditional localization algorithms fail because of the lack of visual features. You can observe in the video that the visual features which are being tracked, which are represented by the green points, are lost as the image loses that white and black boundary on the bottom of this pool that we're imaging, making it hard for the robot to understand how far it has moved. In order to address this challenge, the Field Robotics Group released TurtleMap, an underwater textureless localization and mapping package. This research work developed an optimization-based framework for underwater localization using several unique sensors that we use underwater, such as a Doppler velocity log, which reports the vehicle velocity, and a barometer, which reports the vehicle depth. Another benefit of TurtleMap is that it relies on low-cost sensors, which helps to make the underwater mapping more accessible, as often the sensor cost is a huge barrier for these specialized sensors. TurtleMap also runs in real time on robot hardware to construct maps, and it's able to accomplish this in low texture environments, such as this pool that we're imaging. We've also tested TurtleMap for shipwreck mapping, for example, here on a section of the Monahanset wreck. The upper right-hand corner shows a forward-looking sonar image, which might look unfamiliar to people who don't look at sonar very often, but this is a really important tool for us to image underwater, as sonar can let us see farther than camera imagery does. Our current ongoing work is to integrate this sonar data into our 3D real-time mapping framework. In this talk, I gave you a taste of the exciting research that the Field Robotics Group at the University of Michigan is working on. I want to share some key takeaways. The first is that underwater robotics can help us survey, detect, and map critical underwater historical and environmental sites. The second key takeaway is that the University of Michigan is uniquely poised to solve some of these open challenges in the marine robotics community due to our incredible resources and proximity to the Great Lakes. And third, machine learning can help us accelerate data processing for underwater sensing applications, helping to enable autonomy. I'd just like to thank everyone in the field robotics group, as well as my advisor, Dr. Katie Skinner, the robotics department, and all of our funding agencies. Thank you so much.
Very nice job, Anya. Thank you very much. And thank you all for these uplifting presentations and the work carried out each day at the University of Michigan across all three of our campuses. People often ask me about the best part of leading the University of Michigan. And my answer is what we've just seen and heard this morning. I can go on forever about how great the University of Michigan is. And when I do this anywhere else, people think I'm insufferable. But here, everyone agrees, because we know and see how Michigan serves the world and how great the University of Michigan is. Thank you for your dedication, and thank you again for being here today, and forever go blue.